The 2008 Farm Bill expired on September 30th. While many farm programs remain unaffected, at least until the end of the year, dairy price support payments, or MILC payments, are effectively done. And in a year where feed is scarce and margins thin, the impacts can be widespread. Behind the pump and preparation at the 2012 World Dairy Expo.
But what we really wanted and what we really need is a 5-year bill.
The debate on Washington policy is raging. Drought has feed costs outpacing milk prices, squeezing margins and dredging up questions about an expired safety net.
And in fact, 85% of our producers actually have crop insurance. The problem, though, is that dairy producers don't have that kind of help and assistance, or they did until midnight of a day or so ago when the MILC payment program went out of existence.
There will no longer be a support program. There will no longer be MILC payments. But really the big question mark is whether they get the bill renewed, because on the first of the year, we revert to permanent farm law.
I don't know, they say if they don't pass the farm bill that we're going to get more for our milk for a while.
He's right. Permanent farm law means that the dairy price support can go to 75% of parity. In August, the parity price was at $51.
The range is somewhere between $38 and $50 a hundredweight.
A price that may be good for dairy producers, but could be devastating for long-term demand.
People will begin to look at reformulating their products and making choices different than dairy.
Secretary Vilsack says he believes, despite getting a farm bill through the Senate and out of the House Agriculture Committee, House leadership wasn't satisfied with the $23 to $34 billion in cuts.
House leadership had a much different number, and that number was reflected in the budget that the House passed on several occasions. They passed a budget that would call for $184 billion in cuts. 23, 34, 184.
House leaders cite a lack of time for proper discussion, reconciliation problems between both bills, and some questions about whether the bill could actually secure enough votes to pass. Although Vilsack told producers at World Dairy the votes were there.
And so we're faced now with no MILC program, no checks forthcoming for dairy producers who are stuck.
As bad as the expiration is, let me be clear. The programs that were in there weren't really functioning to begin with.
Industry leaders, however, say getting nothing is better than rushing the bill or even extending it.
As bad as it was for the Farm Bill to expire on September 30th, which caused the MILC to expire right then and there, our price support program and the Dairy Export Incentive Program, they go until the end of December.
Meaning there's work to be done once the elections are over. Otherwise, the consequences could be dramatic come January 1st. Now, if Congress fails to act, 1949 farm policy kicks in, and it would force milk prices up, as Vilsack said, between $38 and $50 per hundred. Farm policy could also be impacted by the potential sequester, which makes about an 8% cut across the board on every line item.
Coverage of World Dairy Expo is brought to you by DuPont Pioneer. From planting through feed-out, helping you maximize the tonnage and quality of your feed.
Coming up tomorrow, we'll continue our look at dairy policy. Michelle Rook joins us from World Dairy Expo, where the debate over the dairy component of the Farm Bill remained a hot topic. Some call it necessary reform, while others say it's invasive supply management. Organizers of the 2012 World Dairy Expo say a record number of attendees from over 90 different countries attended the 5-day event in Madison last week. Nearly 70,000 people were expected through the gates. It was also a successful year for dairy breed sales. The World Classic 2012 Holstein sale averaged $33,000 per lot. That's believed to be the highest grossing and averaging sale in the history of this show. Show organizers say there was also a record number of animals in the show ring and a record number of commercial exhibits. Unfortunately, tragedy struck after the expo closed on Saturday. A 26-year-old woman swerved into a cattle trailer carrying 8 Jersey cows, which had been in the show ring. The trailer and truck ran into a ditch and overturned. One of the prize cows died. None of the drivers were hurt. Police say the driver of the car was reading a text message when the crash occurred.